spend some time learning about how to create and maintain a saltwater aquarium before simply buying a glass box and putting water in it. You will be the sole caretaker of this new habitat. You must take its care very seriously. The little guys depend on you for their comfort and survival. A tank. A common misconception is that a smaller tank will be easier to take care of. This is simply not true. I've researched tank size by watching YouTube videos and going to many websites specializing in saltwater habitats. And they all state that you should get the largest tank that you can afford and have space for. They also recommend that you not go smaller than 30 gallons, especially if you are a beginner. The reason for this is the saltwater environment is a fragile place, and if something goes wrong, too much, not enough salinity, incorrect pH, the negative effects can show up and be disastrous much quicker in a smaller tank. The larger quantity of water will slow the negative effects. Tank stand or cabinet. Be sure to get a stand that is made for your tank. Be very careful when putting your tank on a stand made for a TV or other furniture. It may not be made to withstand the weight that an aquarium has. Water in and of itself is heavy, but you'll also probably have rocks and substrate and equipment. Be sure not to put your aquarium near a power outlet, window, or heating vent. Lighting and cover. This depends on what you are putting in your aquarium. Fish and non-photosynthetic invertebrates do not need special lighting. You can put standard fluorescent lights in the tank. Where you need special care is if you have photosynthetic elements like live rock and corals. In this case, you'll need high-intensity fluorescent lighting made for corals. Most hoods will come with lighting built in, and you should be able to find an ultraviolet light at your local pet store to fit your hood. If you purchased your aquarium without a hood, you should purchase a hood. One reason is to house the lighting that you need, and the second reason is to keep your new friends in their home. Filtration. You can go two different ways. You can go with biological filtration or chemical filtration. Biological filtration uses beneficial bacteria that help to regulate the ammonia and nitrite levels. Chemical filtration uses activated carbon to reduce impurities and organic buildup. Heater and thermometer. It is important to maintain a constant temperature for your saltwater buddies. Different species require different temperatures. Be sure to set the right temperature for your new friends. It is also important that you get a heater that is rated for your size tank. Circulation pumps. Circulation pumps help oxygenate the water, bring food to live rocks, and eliminate dead spots where chemicals settle in the water. Test kits. You want a quality test kit to ensure that the pH is balanced, nitrates and ammonia levels stay low, and that the water contains the correct phosphate and calcium levels. Substrate. This depends on what kind of aquarium you are building. If you are planning on having fish only, you can go with a crushed coral or organite, which helps to maintain alkalinity and pH levels. For a reef aquarium, you should go with live sand, which has beneficial bacteria contained within. Salt water or salt-free water. You can either buy pre-mixed water, or you can start with a regular tap water, and after you dechlorinate it, you can add marine salt. Last but not least, a hydrometer. This item is one in which you should buy a brand name premium product. This measures the salinity in your tank. You need to make sure that the salinity is perfect in your tank. Okay, I got all this stuff. Now what? You can definitely pay top dollar if you want, but let's be honest. A lot of people buy fish thinking that it would be cool, but they don't realize that it's not easy to take care of fish. If you want a nice looking tank and healthy fish, then you have to invest some time and money to do it right. You can save some money by finding used equipment. A lot of people get in and get out of this hobby quickly, or they realize that they love it and want to upgrade and go bigger. Either way, you can get quality fish supplies for a reasonable price if you are patient. Now you have to put it all together. Go ahead and set up your aquarium all together. Fill it with salt water, put in live rock, live sand, get the filtration working, get everything going. But wait! Don't put any fish or coral in yet. If you noticed in the previous section called What Do I Need?, I didn't mention any fish or corals. After about 4 weeks, yes, 4 weeks, you can start adding snails and other algae eaters. You can't add fish and corals right away because you have to wait for the right amount of beneficial bacteria to build up in the tank. You also need to ensure that salinity and pH levels and alkalinity is stable. After 6 to 8 weeks, you can start adding your first corals. Place corals onto live rock. It is important that you only add a few corals at a time, then wait for everything to stabilize. It is recommended that you wait 1 to 2 weeks before adding new species. After 10 to 12 weeks, you can start adding fish. Again, you should be patient and only add a few at a time. It takes time for the bioload to stabilize. If you add too many fish at once, the water can reach toxic levels in a hurry.
Can I get a fish tank?
No.
Please?
No.
Please?
No.
Please?
No.
Can I have an aquarium?
No.
Please?
No.
Please?
No.
Please?
No.
Can we get a tank?
No.
Please?
No.
Please?
No.
Please?
No.
Can I get a tank?
No.
Please?
No.
Please?
No.
Please?
No.
To be honest, when I first started this project, I thought, wow, it'd be a really great thing to have a home reef aquarium, or even just a saltwater aquarium. I thought it sounded like a really cool idea. I mean, I've been fascinated with all the things that I've learned in this class so far, and also in the lab I've been taking. Coral reefs to me are just a fascinating place, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to take the chance to go out and see one in person. So I thought, wow, the next best thing would be to start one at home. So I started researching, and I thought, this is going to be a great thing. But then I started to realize all the things that it takes to create a home reef. It's a very involved process, it's very scientific, and honestly, it takes a lot more time than I think that I have. Not to mention the cost. There's a significant cost to get one started, not to mention the ongoing maintenance. But that really wasn't the thing that stopped me from actually really asking the finance committee to start a home reef. It was when I started researching the effects that home reef collecting has on the environment. I didn't realize that corals and live rocks and things were actually harvested from living reefs. I guess I just assumed there were tanks somewhere that were farmed, that these things were created in and then sold in the market. Boy, was I naive. When I started realizing the kind of things that happen to the fish, and the actual destruction of the actual coral reefs, so I can put one in my house and show it to my friends, I thought, wow, that just seems really irresponsible and really not what we're learning in this class. I think it's really important to preserve the natural habitat of the coral reefs, and I personally don't want to do anything to bring about that destruction. I will not be starting a home reef.
The truth is, a full 98%, yes, almost all species of saltwater fish currently can't be bred in captivity on a commercial scale. According to a news article from National Geographic in 2016, most of the time fish are caught using sodium cyanide. This is a barbaric, inhumane practice that causes the fish to suffocate and pass out. Many fish die right on the spot, and many more die in transit. Even though this is an illegal practice, it is still the main method for which tropical fish are harvested by our three largest exporters, the Philippines, Sri Lanka, and Indonesia. Up to 90% of the 11 million tropical fish that enter the U.S. each year are caught illegally with cyanide, according to a 2008 report from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Then there's the coral. Each live fish caught with a cyanide destroys about a square yard of coral, according to the biologist Sam Mamug of the International Marine Life Alliance. My next slide shows what happens to a coral reef when the fish are removed using cyanide.
Okay, now hold on. All is not lost. You can have an aquarium with fish that were not treated with cyanide. There are many fish today that are bred in captivity successfully, like this clownfish here. Just be careful. Make sure you get your fish from a reputable dealer and look for signs that say bred in captivity